Welcome to Mr. Mayer's Steps of the Scientific Method. We'll be learning the 7 steps of the scientific method, and you will use those 7 steps in your science fair project that will be assigned later this year. As you can see by the picture, most people think of science and a mad scientist, but what we're going to be studying is the scientific method, which involves a series of steps that are used to investigate a natural occurrence. Now, this can happen anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to happen in the science room. It can happen anywhere. You see these steps being used in multiple different places, and we'll show you some of those examples as we move forward. We're going to take a closer look at these steps and the terminology you will need to understand before you start a science project. At this time, what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take out a notebook, because we're going to write down those 7 steps, and we're going to begin to learn those steps and what each of them entails. So in your notebook, I would like you to, on the top, write down the scientific method as your kind of title. And then I would like you to write these 7 different steps that we're going to be studying, leaving spaces in between each of them, so we can later in other videos begin to describe them a little bit more, give them a good definition, and be able to remember what each of them is. So when we use them in our project, we know exactly what they are. So if you would like to pause the video right now so you can write these down, that would be great. And we'll come back here and we'll go through them just a little bit. So if you want to push pause right now. All right, you've got them written down now. You've got the 7 steps. Hopefully there's a little bit of a space in between, because later on we're going to break these down. In another video we're going to break these down a little bit more. But as you can see, the first step is your problem or question. Now, obviously that's kind of self-explanatory as to what those are. Your problem and question is, what do we want to figure out? The second step is observation and research. So before we do anything, we want to do an observation or do some research on this topic to see maybe how it's been, if it's been done before, if there's been a project done before and how they did it. We could also get some background information as to what our problem or question entails. After we do that research, now we're going to come up with formulate a hypothesis. And a hypothesis is kind of a guess as to what we think will happen in our experiment. What kind of results will we get? We're not exactly sure, but we want to know what kind of results they're going to be. Then it's what everybody considers probably their favorite part, which is the experiment. And when you do an experiment, you're going to set it up. It's got to be kind of a measurable experiment, and we'll talk about that more as we go through. But we do want it to be something that you can measure in some mathematical way, whether it's by length, weight, how much something, volume, things like that. Those are all different types of measurements, and that's what our experiment we need to have in it. Then we're going to collect and analyze those results that we got. We're going to put it all maybe in a graph or a chart of some kind. Then we're going to come up with a conclusion. What happened? What were our results? What was the best thing? What was the one that we thought was going to be right, and was that the one that was going to be right? Then we're going to communicate those results, and that communication process will be done in 5th grade, and in our class, in our school, it will be communicated at your science fair presentation, which we will be having later this year. So you'll bring in your board with all of your information, and you will be showing not only myself, staff, other students, other 5th grade students, 4th grade students, and some judges will come in to see what you did for your project and what your results were. So that's our first video for the scientific method. Hopefully you've seen these 7 projects, or these 7 steps now to the scientific method, and you'll feel comfortable when you come into class discussing some of them. If you want to on your own, go out, find these different steps in the scientific method somewhere, kind of get a small definition of each. I kind of gave you a brief one, but we'll go into more detail with those later. And make sure you bring your sheet, your notes, or your paper that you just filled out with these into class next time, and we'll go through them a little bit more in more detail. So those are the 7 steps of the scientific method.